A couple months ago, my friend cousin, who was a single mother, bought a new phone. After a long day of work, she came back to her place, put the phone on the counter, and went to go watch some TV. Her son came and asked her if he could play with her new phone. She told him not to call anyone or mess with the text messages. He agreed and taken the phone. Around 11:20, she was drowsy, so she decided to tuck her son into bed and go to bed herself. She walked to his room, but was confused at why he wasn't there. She then ran over to her room to find him sleeping on her bed. She picked up the phone that was in his hand and started browsing through the photos that he had taken. Realizing that one of them would look out of place, she expected closer to find a horrifying sight. It was a picture of her son, but it was taken by someone else, and the other half of the photo was a half elderly face. I was babysitting my niece once while I was staying at my brother's place, and they had a baby camera set up so that I could see her with the little TV it came with. I was studying and started dozing off when I heard some whispering and realized it was coming from the monitor. I initially thought it was some feedback or something, but when I looked at the TV, there was a dark shadow near my niece's crib. I'd never been more terrified in my life, but the shadow was clearly there where it had not been before. I ran to my niece's room and looked around and saw nothing, but I took her the hell out of there. I went back to my TV, and the shadow was clearly gone. I told my brother what happened, and he pulled me off to the side and told me not to mention it to my sister-in-law, because she'll freak out. And then he saw the same thing several times, now with the same whispers. They stayed in the house for about a good 4 years, when my niece just started to learn how to talk. She would tell her mom about her special friend to this day. It scares the shit out of me. When they moved out, my brother told me my niece had become inconsolably sad because she would miss her friend. Her mom would tell her that she could bring him along. All she would say is he couldn't leave the house. We never said anything about it to this day, and that damn shadow we never saw again. My older sister had a ghost that followed her around for years. I lived with her once for 3 months. So much weird stuff happened in that time. Whenever I tried to bring it up to my sister's attention, all she would say is her friend didn't like me being there. One night, my sister and I were getting ready to go out, and I asked her if I could borrow her liquid foundation. I used it and put it back where she kept her makeup. 10 minutes later, she's asking me for it, and it was nowhere to be seen. She accused me of taking it and made me buy her a new one, refusing to listen to my side of the story. About a year or so later, when she was packing up to move to a new house, she found the makeup in a shoebox with some old letters. The shoebox was zipped up in a suitcase that was underneath her bed. But the most scary thing that I've ever felt in that house happened on one afternoon when I was the only one in the house, which never happened because there was four other people in the house. I arrived home from work and headed straight to the bathroom. All the doors and windows were closed. I was standing in the bathroom and started to squeeze a pimple on my chin when a female voice in the hallway said, "Stop picking your zits." It was loud and real enough for me to think it was actually someone in the house. I just brushed it off and believed it was my sister. So I laughed and told her to piss off and asked her what she was doing for dinner. No answer. I stuck my head out into the hallway and then there was no one. I decided to search the entire house, top to bottom, and still couldn't find no one. I truly felt scared and ended up standing on the front porch until someone came home. I did not want to be in there alone anymore. One night, when I was maybe 10 or 12, I had trouble falling asleep. My bedroom was the entire top floor of our house, with my bed and such being on the left side, and the closet and my play area being on the right side. I was laying in the bed when I heard a noise from the other side of the room and a rocking horse beginning to rock. It was sitting just outside of one of the storage closets and it proceeded to rock its way halfway across the room and stopped dead under the ceiling light. At this point, I was freaking out and just buried my head under the blankets. I never peeked out again until morning. It was all confirmed to not be a dream, as the rocking horse was still in the middle of my room when I woke up. I got a stern reprimand from my parents for being up all night of my bed playing with all my toys past bedtime. Their bedroom was directly below the storage closet slash play area and had heard all the creaking of the rocking horse shuffling across the room. I was a 22-year-old college student living alone at the time in a not so safe area. I didn't want to live on campus anymore after I got into a pretty huge fight with my roommates and everyone in the dormitory turned against me. So I decided that it would be better if I should stay in an apartment complex other than a dormitory on campus. I was used to hearing weird sounds at night, nothing too much out of the ordinary, but one night caught my attention and pretty much made me switch places ASAP. The first half of the night started off pretty normal with your everyday street noises until all of a sudden all the noises just stopped. Like you didn't hear anything anymore. It was so quiet that you could even hear a pin drop in there. A few minutes after the random quiet, I heard a few bangs on my door. Every time that I would check, it would be no one there. I just thought it was a few pranksters trying to pull a prank on me. After 2 times of someone banging on my door and me going out to check to find no one, I just decided to wait there and look out through the peephole, and the next thing I saw pretty much shocked me. It was an old man standing there, no younger than 40 years old, raggedy haircut and raggedy clothes, and with a rusted knife that looked like the tip could break at any point. I saw him once again knock on the door and then run away. I proceeded to call the cops because I was too frightened to go outside of the room at the time. Once the cops arrived, they talked to me and told me that they couldn't find the old man. And personally, I don't blame him. It feels like that he kept disappearing after he knocked on my door, as if it was a ghost or something. For the rest of the night, no matter what noise I heard out in the hallway, I refused to leave my door until sunrise and most people started leaving their apartment. I decided that it would be better if I just go stay with a relative for the time being until I can find a new place. I didn't want to be there anymore after what I saw. As I was leaving the apartment complex, I realized that someone else had a complaint about also banging on their front door. I knew this much for sure. What I saw was real, and I didn't want to be there anymore. The next portion of this video will be taking place from my own personal experience. Back when I was in high school, no one believed us. Luckily, I wasn't alone, so it was honestly a crazy story. So I'm just gonna add that in as well, and that'll be like my last story of the day. So hopefully you all enjoy that. This story takes place in my ninth grade of my high school year. I had one good friend that I always pretty much counted on who was like my own trusted adult. He would pretty much get me out of certain situations that I shouldn't even been in the first place. I've done a lot of things that I regret in my ninth grade year, and this is one of them. I would always lie to my mother and tell her that I was staying out for after school activities. Sometimes I would, but most of the time I really wouldn't, and I would just go off and chill at his house. He had a big house. What, could you blame me? But this time it was around Christmas, so night would come by a little bit more quicker, and it was just me and him at his house, like just us two in this huge house by ourselves, and it's dark out. He would pretty much drive me back to the school or take me home if I missed the bus, so I wasn't really too worried about time. But at the time, his mother and father was both divorced, and he was living with his father. His father took up a couple more hours on this night because someone didn't come in for their shift. So he took in more hours. He also doesn't have siblings, so it would just be me and my friend both chilling in this house. There were multiple red flags throughout the night, which pretty much said that I should be leaving, but I obviously ignored them and kept doing what I was doing. The first red flag was weird noise in the backyard. Now, it wasn't like leaves ruffling, like someone stepping on leaves and branch. No, 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 no. It was like scratching. Like straight someone scratching a tree. And that's obviously the very first red flag. Like, at that point, you need to realize, like, okay, yeah, this isn't good. So my friend goes in and he checks it out. He turns the light on and he doesn't see anything. He's not really seeing nothing. Then we have this fence there, so if something was climbing the fence, we will be able to know. But he's not really seeing anything, so we didn't really think too much about it. We turn the light off and we go back to playing the game. Eventually, a couple minutes go by, and we play a few more rounds, and we hear the scratching again, and it's literally the same noise coming from the same direction in the back of the house. So we decided to go check it out once again. At this point, we decided that we can't just let this go on. We have to call his father. So we call his father, and he said that he's never heard scratching like that happening, but he has 2 more hours left on his shift, and he'll be back home pretty soon. But it wasn't too long after that phone call that we realized another red flag hit. My friend went into the kitchen. He went to try to whip something up real quick, and a lot of stuff was missing. Like, it was common household items. The toaster was missing. We don't even know where the toaster went. We don't know where the oven mitts were. We don't know where some bowls was at. Like, it was common stuff that you see on a day-to-day basis was just missing. Like, they were nowhere to be seen in the kitchen. I mean, we checked in the living room. We checked everywhere. We could not find none of the stuff that was missing. And we were just so confused. That's another red flag that I should have been getting ready to leave. But of course, I didn't listen to it again, and I stayed there with my friend. Moving on, for the rest of that night, I personally didn't notice any other red flags or anything that was pretty much suggesting ghosts or anything among that category. But eventually, my friend's dad got home, and he pretty much came in, checked around the house. He found everything that was missing. I don't know how he did that. And also, he went into the back. He still didn't see anybody back there that could have caused that scratching noise. But he pretty much checked over everything that we saw was like scary, and everything just looked a-okay normal to him. Like, no matter what, like, we literally didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. So he came back in, and he was a little upset with us. Not because we were sitting here scared out of our minds, but because we didn't do our homework. We literally here thought that we are having a ghost attack, and Mans is mad because we didn't do our homework. You know what? I can respect that. I can respect that. Now, looking back on it, I can respect that. Dude got mad that we didn't do our homework. And plus, at the time when he checked everything that we said was wrong, nothing was wrong. So, you know what? I can respect that. But this was my own little personal side of a ghost story. Because I was telling ghost stories on earlier. On earlier? Yeah, I still suck at talking. But I was telling ghost stories. So this was my own personal ghost story that I had. I don't think I have any more. Probably have to really think back to it, but I don't have any more. So that was my own little personal ghost story. Like I said, I'm done dragging on this video. I want to end it right there. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, comment down below. Also subscribe because it just helps the videos do better. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.